What's up, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram? This your boy Trey Larkins, Wise Guys Sports. Everybody remember go follow Wise Guys on Twitter at Wise Guys underscore H. Also on Facebook, Wise Guys. And be sure to follow Wise Guys on Instagram at These Guys Know Sports. It's Wednesday, March the 25th. In the house with your boy Trey Larkins. Wanted to come on here on this opening day eve. Definitely excited for opening day here in the city of Cincinnati. Opening day is a Cincinnati tradition where we have the parade and we have a lot of festivities going on for opening day for the Cincinnati Reds. Reds play the Braves tomorrow, I believe. I think first pitch is going to be at 4:10, I believe. So I'm definitely excited about that. It's been a while since I've been on here with y'all. I want to talk about some NBA and the NBA playoff picture and where things currently stand. Also wanted to discuss, as it was announced, that the University of North Carolina, they are moving off of former head coach Hubert Davis. So UNC will be in pursuit of their next head coach for the Tar Heels. Wanted to discuss that. But first, let's start off in the NBA. And let's start off in the Western Conference. Let's talk about the Los Angeles Lakers. I was just on a few minutes ago, but that live got disrupted. So I'm back on again. And I want to talk about the Lakers. The Los Angeles Lakers been balling in the month of March. I believe the Lakers have been the best team in the NBA in the month of March. They've only lost two games in March, one to the Nuggets, and they lost the other night against the Pistons. But besides that, the Los Angeles Lakers have been balling. Luka Doncic has elevated his game. He's averaging over 30 points per game in the month of March. And he's elevated to, in my eyes, being in that MVP conversation right alongside SGA and Wemby. And it was crazy because I thought pre-March, the top three NBA MVP candidates were SGA, Jalen Brown, and Wemby. And I thought pre-All-Star break, Cade Cunningham was also in that conversation. But in the month of March, Luka has been balling. And I've been very critical of Luka Doncic. I have said on multiple occasions how Luka is overrated, but I got to give Luka Doncic his flowers and give him his credit for the way that he's been playing in the month of March. Luka has elevated his game. He's been a tremendous scorer for the Lakers. He's been a closer for the Lakers. He's a great passer as their point guard. And here is the key. He's even attempted to play defense. Yes, Luka Doncic has actually attempted to play defense in the month of March. And another thing that I love about the way that Luka's playing, Luka is doing less complaining and more trash talk towards the opposing team's fans. That's one of the issues with Luka. Sometimes the officials can take Luka out of a game because he gets frustrated when he doesn't get the proper foul calls that he thinks he deserves. And sometimes the officials can affect Luka and his play. But in the month of March, Luka has not been complaining as much towards officials. And instead, he's used that energy to trash talk opposing teams, fans. And I think that has also helped Luka Doncic elevate his game. And that's one of the biggest reasons why the Lakers have been balling the way that they have in the month of March. Austin Reeves has also elevated his game, and he's been a bona fide second scoring option on this Lakers team. I mean, Austin Reeves is scoring at an elite level, so he is the second option on this Lakers team. But LeBron is also a major contributor and a big reason why the Lakers have been balling in the month of March because LeBron has accepted his role. He's under he understands the assignment, And he understands in order for this Lakers team to be at their best, he has to accept that role as the third scoring option and find other ways to make an impact. And I think LeBron has done a great job at playing defense. He's done a great job at rebounding the basketball as well. And he has been a tremendous leader for the Los Angeles Lakers in the month of March while they have won all these games. I think they went on like an 8-game, nine. I think it might have been a 9-game winning streak. I think it was a 9-game winning streak. It got snapped the other night when they lost against the Pistons, which actually surprised me because I thought the Lakers would have beaten the Pistons without Cade Cunningham. But Luka Doncic has really, really elevated his game. LeBron James has accepted his role as the third scoring option, and he's found other ways to make an impact on this Lakers basketball team. And I feel like that's what it's going to take for the Lakers to be at their best. LeBron has to accept that he is the third scoring option on this Lakers team. Now, some nights we know LeBron James has the ability to still drop 25, 30 points and be that second scoring option behind Luka Doncic. But the way their pecking order is, as far as scoring is Luka is the number one scoring option. Austin Reeves is the number 2 scoring option, and LeBron James is the number 3 scoring option on this Lakers team. And I love how he's found other ways to make an impact. We got to give credit to Lakers head coach, J.J. Redick, because J.J. Redick, all season long, he preached defense. He's preached defense. And so, to me, the Lakers have played much better defense in the month of March than they have all season long. And that's one of the biggest reasons why they have won so many games in March. They have, because I said that's the thing about the Lakers. Pre-March, I complained and I talked about how the Lakers' biggest issue was not their offense. We know Luka, LeBron, and Reeves each can drop 25 apiece. The problem with the Lakers before March was that they did not defend. And those elite teams in the Western Conference, like the Thunder, like the Timberwolves, like the Spurs, they defend at an elite level. And so the Lakers' defense has gotten much better in the month of March. It really, really has. Because I was saying it before, pre-All-Star break, and even after the All-Star break, I was talking about the Lakers' defense and how their defense is going to be the biggest reason why they will possibly be first-round exits. Their defense is a problem, but in the month of March, they have played better defensively. And give credit to J.J. Redick, because J.J. Redick talked about this all season long, and he preached about how they had to defend better overall as a team in order to accomplish the things that they want to accomplish. And they've done that in the month of March. And so this Los Angeles Lakers team, they are sleepers in the Western Conference. I would definitely consider them sleepers. And the Thunder, Spurs, and Nuggets better watch out because the Lakers are coming. With that being said, though, despite how great the Lakers have played in the month of March, I do not believe the Lakers should be viewed as championship contenders. I think the Thunder, Spurs, and Nuggets should be considered the favorites in the Western Conference. And I think if the Lakers went up against, especially the Thunder and the Nuggets, in a 7-game series, I believe the Lakers would lose that particular series. Against the Thunder, I'm not betting against the defending champs. And I think the Thunder would cause issues for the Lakers because they have multiple defenders they could send in the direction of a Luka Doncic. So it would be hard for Luka to score 35, 40 points in a playoff series because the Thunder have so many bodies they can send at Luka. Now, Luka will get his points. Let's be clear. Luka Doncic would get his points no matter who he's going up against. But I think the Thunder have the personnel specifically the defensive personnel that could make things tough on Luka Doncic and the Los Angeles Lakers. So I think with SGA, who's has my vote for NBA MVP right now, and their defensive personnel, I think the Thunder will make things tough for the Lakers in a 7-game series. The Nuggets, I ain't betting against Jokic and Murray as a dynamic duo in a 7-game series. Jokic and Murray, they are proven winners. And I think Jokic and Murray, they are a top 5 NBA duo, period. When it comes to NBA duos and the best NBA duos, I believe Jokic and Murray should be in everybody's top 5. And so I ain't betting against Jokic and Murray, who are champions, who have won at an elite level. I believe in a 7-game series, the Nuggets would beat the Lakers because of Jokic. I think Jokic is still the best player in the NBA. I know SGA been balling. I think SGA is going to win MVP again this year. And I know he won a championship last year and he won Finals MVP. But I still think Jokic is the best player in pro basketball. And I believe if the Lakers were to match up against the Nuggets, they would have no answers for Jokic. And I think Murray is one of the most clutch players in the NBA. And I know last time the Lakers and Nuggets matched up against one another, the Lakers beat the Nuggets. I think that was on a Saturday. It was on ABC. It was a primetime game. I think Murray struggled in that game. I think he shot like 1 for 14. He had a bad shooting game. That won't happen again. So the Nuggets and the Thunder specifically are both better than the Lakers are. The Spurs, they are very inexperienced. Wemby doesn't have any playoff experience. So I think the Spurs and the Lakers would be a 7-game series, but I still probably would favor the Spurs slightly because they have a more balanced basketball team than the Lakers have. And I think the Spurs defend. The Lakers don't defend as great as the Spurs do. So I think the Spurs would be able to get key pivotal stops against the Lakers in a 7-game series. But it wouldn't surprise me if the Lakers beat the Spurs, honestly. It would not surprise me. But I think the Nuggets and Thunder are the favorites in the Western Conference right now. But I think the Lakers could possibly beat the Spurs in a 7-game series. I think the Timberwolves would also beat the Lakers in a 7-game series. We saw last year, Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle, they sent LeBron and Luka home last year in the first round of the NBA playoffs. So I think the Timberwolves are a bad matchup for the Lakers. And so those 3 teams, I think, would beat the Lakers in a 7-game series. Thunder, Nuggets, Timberwolves. And Spurs are iffy. I'm 50-50 about that one because the Spurs are very inexperienced. And that's the one thing that the Lakers actually would have as an advantage over the Spurs is playoff experience with Luka, Reeves, and LeBron. Now, there are other teams that I believe the Lakers would beat in a playoff series. The Clippers, the Rockets, and the Suns. I think the Lakers, if they matched up against any of those 3 teams I just named, Clippers, Suns, Rockets, the Lakers could beat any of those 3 teams in a first round playoff series. So those 3 teams, I could see the Lakers beating in a 7-game series in the playoffs. Rockets, they are a mess. They need a point guard. They struggle to get defensive stops. Sengun's a great scorer, but he struggles on the defensive end. The Rockets need a point guard in the worst way. For me, I can't understand for the life of me why the Rockets have not reached out to Chris Paul or Rajon Rondo because that's their biggest weakness on their basketball team. They need a floor general. And I love Ime Udoka. I think Ime Udoka is one of the best head coaches in pro basketball. But there are times where I watch the Houston Rockets and Udoka has Kevin Durant bringing the basketball up the floor, initiating the offense. While we know Kevin Durant can be a distributor, that's not his game. Kevin Durant is an elite scorer. He's one of the greatest scorers in NBA history, and his name deserves to be in that conversation with Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. Matter of fact, last week, KD passed Michael Jordan on the all-time scoring list. And I think now KD is fifth, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong about that. I think he's fifth, though. And I think he only trails LeBron, Kareem, Kobe, and maybe Wilt. I'm not sure. But I think KD is now fifth on the all-time scoring list. I think Kobe is 4. I think Kareem is 2, and LeBron is 1. And I think number 3 could be Wilt. I can't remember at this moment, but I think KD passed. I know KD for sure passed Jordan last week. But the bottom line is about the Rockets. They need a point guard. And I see Udoka, he has Kevin Durant initiating the offense. And as great as Kevin Durant and Alfred Şengün are, they are scorers. They need point guard to set them up. That's what they need. They need a point guard who can set them up and put them in positions to score the basketball. And so we know Kevin Durant is a great distributor of the basketball. But Kevin Durant is not an elite passer like a LeBron or like a Luka or like a Magic was in his prime when Magic played. That's not who Kevin Durant is. Kevin Durant is more so like Kobe and Jordan or Carmelo, where Kevin Durant is a scorer. You need a point guard to set Kevin Durant up. Now, Kevin Durant can create off the dribble and score at the elite level on his own, but he's an even better scorer when he has a point guard who can set him up. Look what happened when he had Russell Westbrook in OKC and how much success they had. Now, they didn't win a championship. But they had a lot of success in OKC as a duo, Russ and KD, because Russ used to set Kevin Durant up when Russ took on the role as a point guard. Now, we know Russ had his issues sometimes where KD would get frustrated with Russ because Russ would just sometimes he would be a loose cannon, and he had his issues sometimes where he would sometimes not give the ball to Kevin Durant. But that's the issue with the Rockets. But overall, in the Western Conference, I think the teams that should be considered the favorites, it should be the Nuggets because they are proven, and the Thunder because they are the defending NBA champions, and they have SGA, who's a top 3 player right now in the NBA. I think the Lakers are in that second tier behind the Nuggets and the Thunder. I think the Lakers are on the same level as the Spurs, Rocket. Well, no, Rockets are even a notch below them. I probably would say the championship contenders in the West: Thunder, Nuggets. The second tier: Lakers, Spurs, Timberwolves, and in that third tier, you got teams like the Rockets, the Clippers. I don't think the Rockets are no better than the Clippers. Seriously. If the Rockets and Clippers matched up in a 7-game series, I don't know if the Rockets would actually beat the Clippers. Seriously. That's how inconsistent the Rockets have been this season. But those are my tiers. I got the Nuggets and the Thunder as the legitimate championship contenders in the West. And that second tier is the Lakers and the Spurs and the Timberwolves. And that third tier is teams like the Rockets, the Suns, the Clippers, teams like that. But those are my thoughts on the Lakers in the Western Conference. Let's talk about the Eastern Conference. Before I get to that, also I want to say this too. It's crazy because when it comes to the NBA MVP conversation, right now I think SGA should be the leader in the NBA MVP conversation. And pre All-Star break, I thought the leading contenders for NBA MVP were SGA, Jaylen Brown, and Cade Cunningham, and even Jokic as well. And after the All-Star break, I felt like SGA, Jaylen Brown, Cade Cunningham was still in that conversation, and Jokic also. So those four I thought were kind of at the top of my NBA MVP ballot. It was SGA. This is no particular order, but the four were SGA, Jaylen Brown, Jokic, and Cade Cunningham. But the way Luka Doncic has been balling in the month of March, to me, Luka has surpassed Cade Cunningham and Jokic for MVP honors. And honestly, as much as I love Jaylen Brown, I think Luka has even surpassed Jaylen Brown. And so right now for NBA MVP honors, I got SGA, Luka, and then Wemby. Because Luka been balling in the month of March. He has been balling. So I got to give Luka his credit. I've been very critical of Luka Doncic. I have been very critical, and I have said on multiple occasions how Luka is overrated. I still believe that. But it's undeniable how great Luka has been playing in the month of March. And I think Luka has played the best basketball in the month of March as far as players, as far as performance. And I think the Lakers as a team have been the best team in the month of March. But I would probably still give a slight edge to SGA over Luka in the MVP conversation right now. And I ain't gonna forget about Jaylen Brown. I think Luka has surpassed Jaylen Brown, but I think Jaylen Brown deserves to be in that conversation. I think Jaylen Brown and Wemby about even. But honestly, I probably would give Jaylen Brown a slight edge because most of the season, Jaylen Brown has played without Jason Tatum. And even before Jason Tatum came back, the Celtics were the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. So Jaylen Brown has been balling. Wemby has been balling. SGA has been balling. But in the month of March, Luka Doncic has been the best player in pro basketball. He's been the best player in pro basketball, but he's still not the leading candidate for MVP honors. That would be SGA because of how great he has played since he returned back from his injury after the All-Star break. And I still got questions about the Thunder, too, as a championship team. They won last year. And that's actually something else I want to talk about real quick because the Thunder are the reigning defending NBA champions. They won the championship last year, but I was listening to Get Up and Greeny on Get Up. They had asked a question, and one of the questions was, do they believe the Thunder are unbeatable? Like, and Greeny referenced and made a connection / analogy with the Golden State Warriors. Remember when the Warriors added Kevin Durant, they had Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, and Draymond Green, Andre Iguodala. We all knew that the Warriors were going to win the NBA championship. It was a foregone conclusion that the Warriors were the best team in pro basketball and they were going to win the NBA championship. It was almost like watching a movie, but you already know the ending of the movie and you know the outcome of the movie. That's how the NBA season was in the Kevin Durant era while he played in Golden State, right? So they were talking about the Thunder and whether or not the Thunder should be viewed as a team that's unbeatable like the Golden State Warriors were in the Kevin Durant era in Golden State. And I thought, to me, that was absolutely ridiculous that they included this Thunder team in the same conversation as that Warriors team. Like, are we really talking about the Thunder team that went 7 games last year in the NBA Finals was the Indiana Pacers. Because I wouldn't consider that Pacers team an all-time great team. And I said that last year when the Thunder won the championship. And all due respect to SGA, Chet Holmgren, and Jalen Williams as a trio. They won an NBA championship last year. They deserve credit for that. I thought Jalen Williams elevated his game. And when it comes to best NBA duos, SGA, Jalen Williams, they deserve to be in that conversation with Murray and Jokic, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, and even, well, they got a trio. The Lakers got a trio with LeBron, Luka, and Austin Reeves. But I felt like that trio, SGA, Chet Holmgren, and Jalen Williams, they deserve their credit for winning the championship last year. But on Get Up, they were speaking as if the Thunder were an all-time great team that's unbeatable. Let me name some of the teams who should be considered all-time great teams that were unbeatable. Kobe Shaq's Lakers. Jordan's Bulls with Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman. The Warriors with Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, and Klay Thompson. Those teams that I just named should be considered all-time great teams. And when I watched those particular teams play, they were unbeatable. Kobe Shaq's Lakers were unbeatable. MJ's Bulls were unbeatable. The Steph, KD Warriors were unbeatable. The Thunder with SGA, Jalen Williams, and Chet Holmgren are not unbeatable. They are not unbeatable. The Pacers just took the Thunder 7 games last year in the NBA Finals. They went to a 7-game series with the Indiana Pacers just last year in June in the NBA Finals. I don't consider that Pacers team an all-time great team. And that Pacers team took last year's Thunder team 7 games in the finals. And here's another thing. To me, in order to be considered an all-time great team, usually you need to have 2 great players in their prime. The Thunder have 1 great player in his prime in SGA. The Warriors had Steph and KD, who were both in their primes when KD was in Golden State. The Bulls had MJ and Pippen, who were both in their prime during the Bulls championships that they won in the 90s. And Kobe and Shaq were both in their prime when the Lakers three-peated in the early 2000s. Now, I feel like Kobe was entering his prime. Kobe, to me, was at his best post-Shaq. Once Shaq left LA, to me, that's when Kobe got even better. But at least Kobe was entering his prime when the Lakers three-peated in the early 2000s. The Thunder do not have 2 all-time great players on their team right now. SGA is an all-time great player, but Jalen Williams is not an all-time great player. Chet Holmgren, damn sure, should not be considered an all-time great player. So therefore, I cannot consider this Thunder team not only a team that's not unbeatable, but they're also not an all-time great team. Okay? They're not. To me, the Celtics championship team with Drew Holiday, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Kristaps Porzingis, Al Horford, that Celtics team was better than the Thunder current team is. Yes, the 2024 Boston Celtics, who won an NBA championship, they are better than the 2025 Oklahoma City Thunder. And that's a fact. So please stop with this all-time great talk about the OKC Thunder, and please kill this notion that they are unbeatable. The Thunder can be beat in a playoff series. Let me be very clear, okay? It would not surprise me whatsoever or at all if the Thunder got beat in the playoffs by the Spurs, by the Nuggets. Remember last year, the Nuggets also went 7 games with the Thunder during their playoff series. The Nuggets took the Thunder 7 games last year in the Western Conference playoffs. So that Thunder team is not an all-time great team, and they damn sure are not a team that I consider that's unbeatable, like Steph Katie's Warriors were, like MJ's Bulls were, like Kobe and Shaq's Lakers were. Just want to get that off my chest. But let's talk about the East real quick. So in the East right now, Pistons are the number 1 seed, Celtics number 2 seed, Knicks number 3. So I think that East is going to be very interesting because I thought pre-All-Star break, the Pistons were the best team in the Eastern Conference. But Cade Cunningham is out with the blood clot situation. And so I believe because of that, I think it's going to be apologies. I had it wrong. Cade Cunningham is not dealing with a blood clot. He's dealing with a punctured lung. My apologies about that. But Cade Cunningham, since he's gotten injured, I can no longer view the Detroit Pistons as championship contenders in the Eastern Conference. I think right now the Celtics are championship contenders in the East. And I think the Cavs potentially could be championship contenders in the East, but we know James Harden is a choke artist. So to me, right now, I believe Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and the Boston Celtics should be the favorites in the Eastern Conference right now. They have the experience, they have championship DNA, and they have the best duo in pro basketball leading their basketball team right now. Now, the thing is, Jason Tatum is still trying to find his rhythm. He's still trying to get as close to 100% as possible. And it's going to take some time for JT. It's going to take some time for JT. And as a Jason Tatum fan, I have to understand and be patient with JT because my man JT just came off of an Achilles injury. Jason Tatum returned back from an Achilles injury only it was like 300 days since he suffered his Achilles injury and the time that he returned. Remember, Kevin Durant, it took him over 500 days to return back to the floor after suffering his Achilles injury. So if you are a Jason Tatum fan or a Celtics fan, you got to be patient with JT. And that's why I was happy that they brought JT back in March because it's gave JT time to ramp up and get into basketball shape. That way, once April rolls around, JT will be close to 100% as possible. And JT and JB can possibly go on another championship run in the Eastern Conference. And right now, I think the favorites should be the Celtics because the Pistons, they don't have Cade Cunningham right now. And if Cade Cunningham doesn't return back to the floor, the Heat could possibly take out the Pistons in the first round. The Hornets, for damn sure, could possibly take out the Pistons in the first round without Cade Cunningham. And that's the thing about the Pistons. I love the Pistons as a team as far as defense. I think they have great defensive tenacity, but offensively, they don't have a bona fide number 2 scoring option. And so if they don't have Cade Cunningham, the Pistons could be first-round exits. Let me say it again. And I know Detroit Pistons fans don't want to hear this, but if they don't have Cade Cunningham, they could be first-round exits in the Eastern Conference. And they could get knocked off by a Charlotte Hornets or a Miami Heat team. So I think right now, and then the Cavaliers, I love their talent. I love Mitchell, Harden, and Mobley and Allen. And I think Donovan Mitchell, this is a big year for Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell has to at least make the conference finals. Because as great as Donovan Mitchell is as a player, Donovan Mitchell has never reached a conference finals. And to me, in order for Donovan Mitchell to be in that elite player conversation, he has to at least make a conference finals. He's never reached a conference finals. He didn't reach the conference finals at Utah, and he has not reached a conference finals so far in Cleveland. So this is a big year for Donovan Mitchell. But the issue with the Cleveland Cavaliers is we know James Harden is a choke artist. James Harden is a bona fide choke artist in the playoffs. So much so we expect James Harden to choke come playoff time. And so I think because of the Celtics championship DNA, because of Brown and Tatum being the best duo in pro basketball, and also I think Joe Mazzulla has gotten better as a head coach, I think the Celtics should be considered the favorites in the Eastern Conference. Now, the Knicks, everybody's like, what about the Knicks? What about the Knicks? I still feel like the Knicks don't have enough firepower. I actually think the Knicks, in a way, have taken a step back under Mike Brown compared to what they were under Tom Thibodeau. I think Tom Thibodeau, the Knicks were a tougher basketball team. I think now they're a more finesse basketball team under Mike Brown. Does that make sense? Like, to me, they're more finesse now. Last year under Tom Thibodeau, I thought the Knicks were a much more tougher basketball team that played hard to the entire whistle. And I think the Knicks, I felt like they just wanted it more under Tibbs than they do under Mike Brown. Doesn't make Mike Brown a bad coach. I just think they are a much more finesse basketball team. And I think if the Knicks ran into the Pistons in a playoff series, I think that could be an issue for the Knicks. Now, I think the Knicks could possibly still beat the Pistons without Cade Cunningham. The Knicks beat the Pistons last year in the playoffs, but the Pistons' physicality could be too much for the Knicks. We see the Pistons have swept the Knicks in their season series this year. In one particular game, the Knicks were in Detroit going up against the Pistons, and the Pistons ran the Knicks out of the state of Michigan. They blew the Knicks off the floor. And again, the Knicks did beat the Pistons last year in the playoffs. But I think the Pistons' physicality could be too much for the Knicks in a 7-game series. But that's going to be interesting to see. But I've never believed in the Knicks being true championship contenders. I have never viewed the Knicks as a true championship contender in the Eastern Conference. Now, I love Jalen Brunson, and I think Jalen Brunson has played at an elite level over the last few years. But I still don't really view the Knicks as championship contenders. I think the Knicks could win one playoff series, but I think they could be a second-round exit. That's their ceiling to me. The Knicks are kind of similar to the Lakers. I think the Lakers and the Knicks are similar. But those are my thoughts on the Eastern Conference. I got more I want to talk about with Hubert Davis. I'll come back on later on and discuss that. Y'all enjoy y'all Wednesday. And don't forget opening day tomorrow here in Cincinnati. But I'm going to definitely talk about Hubert Davis a little bit later on this evening. So I'll be back on. Oh, don't forget, too. Everybody go follow Wise Guys on Twitter at WiseGuys_H. Also on Facebook, Wise Guys. Be sure to follow Wise Guys on Instagram at These Guys Know Sports. coming back in April, discussing a lot of NBA on Wise Guys Sports. So be sure to tune in for that. Y'all enjoy y'all Wednesday.